Welcome back to Business Life Lessons. Today we're going to be talking about flow state versus multitasking. Flow state is when you are basically hyper-focused on a task or an activity where time seems to stand still, or you feel like time is going in slow motion and you're just getting things done, whatever that activity, whatever that task is. As an example, for me, I have two examples from my own life. One is in sports. There was at least like once or twice I experienced this playing hockey, and I was a forward going towards the opposite team's goal. There were some of the opposite players around me as well, but I had the puck in the stick going around them, and I felt like whatever move I need to make, I could almost predict what I needed to make to get around the defenseman and to score. And within those kind of seconds, it just happened to work out that way. And it felt like everybody else around me was skating in slow motion and I was just going in the flow. In sports, they may call it even being in the zone. So definitely experienced that in hockey. Another place I experienced that was programming. So just sitting behind the computer, being fully immersed in all the things that needed to be done and what I had to do virtually, kind of in my mind and on the computer, of what methods I had to change or add or whatever it was, getting the data, all of that. Like I knew where I was going with it. I knew what I needed to do. I knew how to do it, and I just was getting done, and time just flew by. There was like almost like no concept of time. So that's the state of flow. Basically, when you're working on something, when you're enjoying what you're doing, and you're like fully immersed in that. Now, the opposite of that, in my view, would be multitasking. A lot of people are almost like proud. Hey, I can multitask. But I think it's more of a self-deception. Like we may think we multitask by quickly switching from one task to the next, but the challenge with that is that we're not fully immersed in that task. So there's a lot of data, a lot of auxiliary information that we're not bringing to the forefront of our mind, and in those cases a lot of mistakes typically happen. So when we multitask, when we switch from task to task to task, we're not fully present in that moment. And if we are, then we're not really multitasking, we're actually single tasking. We're working on one task from start to finish and then moving on to the next task from start to finish. That's not multitasking. Multitasking is working a little bit on this task, then doing a little bit on that task, and then coming back to that first task and doing some more and going back and forth. The challenge with that is every time you shift your focus from one thing to the next, there's some statements out there stating that it will take you up to 15 minutes to get back into what you were doing, like trying to reset your mindset or your mind to where you were before. So there's a lot of waste in time, and there's a lot of proneness basically to mistakes when a person is multitasking. There's even a Forbes article that talks about multitasking damaging your brain and career. I'll put a link down below for that article as well. So definitely I don't recommend multitasking. Work on one task at a time and put full focus, full immersion into that task, and that will lead to better outcome of those tasks. See you in the next one.